Hey, good morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution, episode 1330. Happy Saturday. Welcome to the weekend. We're going to talk fights. We're going to talk boxing. Did you try to watch Netflix last night? Mike Tyson, Jake Paul, almost call him Logan, Jake Paul. I tried. I jinxed myself at one point during the night. What'd you think of it? We're going to talk about last night's Netflix boom or bust fight night, boxing on Netflix. Man, I felt liberated yesterday. I've been just churning, getting my shipments out, and just trying to keep on top of orders to ship out, and was able to get that number to 0 at one point on Thursday afternoon, and haven't got it back to 0, but it was in the single digits most of the day yesterday, and really enabled me to kind of take it easy. I don't often do that. Did not take Ernie to doggy daycare, so we played. We spent some time together. We went for a walk. We saw one of his fellow Havanese friends just randomly as we went out to go potty. So he got to say hi to Buster. And I did I utilized some time where I said Thursday I was going to dedicate an hour to Trading Card Database. Didn't do it Thursday. Didn't spend a second on Trading Card Database, but I did spend a little bit of time on Friday morning on Trading Card Database. I didn't log many cards. I logged maybe a dozen cards or so. Cards that I'd picked up in Dallas and Oklahoma City. So just trying to get those logged. Going through, I listed some cards. I listed a bunch of Marvin Harrison cards. Of course, his son's playing in the NFL now. So I had a whole bunch lying around. So I like 75 Marvin Harrison Juniors. Not a single one is sold. Not much on the Marvin Harrison market, apparently. Listed some auctions. Dug some cards out, Cubs cards out as I was like, I'm going to. I had a duplicate. I'd picked up a Greg Maddux rated rookie, and I think I got it for 50 cents somewhere on my trip a couple weeks ago. And I went to log it in TCDB. It's like I already have one, which I knew I probably have like 20 or more. So I'm like, well, I know this is a duplicate, so I'm just going to put this at auction. So I dug out 30, 40 Cubs cards, and surprisingly, like random Anthony Rizzo cards are getting bids already, where like a Greg Maddux rated rookie and some other stuff, Dylan Cease first chromes and Justin Steele first chromes, no bids, but some random base heritage Anthony Rizzo cards are. So sometimes you never know. So I've got another Ryan Sandberg box I'm going to go through and may do another Cubs auction night. So those auctions began last night. So Friday night, last night, Cubs auctions went live. And then there's going to be more auctions going live. eBay store is 99centcards.com. Let's get that up there. There you go. So I've got about 50 or so scheduled to start tonight. I've got about 75 ending tonight. So check it out, 99centcards.com. Tonight's starting auctions, a lot of baseball. I'd say mainly baseball starting tonight. So check those out. There's some like Julio Rodriguez rookies, Bobby Witt Jr. I've got some first chrome prospects. So there's some decent stuff going on auction tonight. And of course, auctions ending tonight. And today is kind of, I did a little bit of shipping this morning before I went live. And I think I'm in the 30s, the low 30s for 33 orders to ship right now. So I'll be able to handle that. I'd like to get over to the storage unit. So it's kind of nice. I'm able to like multitask and do various things. Although at one point I was feeling a little overwhelmed because I'm tackling like multiple tasks and I'm not getting anything done. It's like, I just need to devote, okay, I have this task at hand. Let's just finish it. So I don't leave all of these, so I don't have 7 things to do at the same time. So maybe not focus on Trading Card Database for a half an hour to an hour. Maybe focus on getting auctions up. Maybe focus on getting those shipments down to zero. Maybe, focus on another thing. So we'll see if I can handle that today. But I like multitasking, but I understand it also creates inefficiencies in my workflow. So we'll see. But I do as getting that storage unit, and I shouldn't say filled because I don't expect to fill it, but just allowing me space will enable me to work more efficiently, get that workflow a little smoother here in my basement. So and it's getting colder, and the colder it gets, and once snow starts flying, I'm not going to want to go haul shit to my storage unit. It's like, just leave that there. So I'm battling time. So try to focus on that and get that done today. So it's kind of what I did. Of course, I did watch Netflix last night. We'll talk about that. The Badgers were on last night. They played top 10 Arizona Wildcats at Kohl Center last night. Didn't watch any of it. I think it was an 8:00 tip, and by that time, I was invested in the fight. One of the preliminary fights, the one that I was able to watch, I guess. I ordered a pizza. My wife had a happy hour with her coworkers, and I'm like, well, I'm going to have some beers tonight, watch the fight, and I'll order a pizza. And I was going to order Jets because that's kind of my go-to, but I stepped out of the box only because Jets was like a 2+ hour wait for delivery. And I'd already started having beers, and I'm not going to go drive. So order delivery, 2+ hours. It's like, okay, screw that. And then I'm like, well, I'll do Rosati's because that's the other pizza place I go to. It's like, you know what? Let's like expand my horizons and let's go to like a local, like not a chain. So we have one of our kind of local, I guess it's local, pizza places is called Glass Nickel. I think it's is Glass Nickel's not a chain, is it? Now I'm going to Google Glass Nickel Pizza. I know there's multiple locations here in Wisconsin, but I don't know if it's like I don't think it's a national. I think it's just a regional chain statewide. Looks like it. So Glass Nickel, and I've had their pizza before. We used to do pizza reviews at my office. Like me and a couple of the other sales guys would every Wednesday we would get pizzas from all over, and we even created a spreadsheet on our grades, ripping off Dave Portnoy. And I remember Glass Nickel being good, and they have some like wild pizzas on their menu, and I'll just show you their menus here. Menus. So I'm on Madison West. So let's bring that up to screen. So here's Glass Nickel Pizza. Let's blow that up. So we're gonna want pizza. So here's their specialty pizzas: bacon cheeseburger, the Big Eddie, and you can order like sausage, but like you got to go with like their specialty pizzas. So Boris Karloff. See, I'm pretty particular when it comes to pizza. Now, I would totally order a bacon cheeseburger pizza. I love the BLT pizza, or taco pizza. And I also do love a BLT pizza as well. But when it comes to like salami and pepperoni, I'm out. Like the Boris Karloff doesn't sound good to me. The Big Eddie doesn't sound too bad. That doesn't sound too bad. Bacon cheeseburger, I'd totally order. Border to border, it's got spicy sauce. I don't really care for spiciness on my pizza. Jalapenos. Buffalo Nickel. This sounds interesting, but chicken strips turns me off on a pizza. Like, So I did see that, and I'm like, oh, okay, blue cheese or ranch, okay, house blend cheese, chicken strips. No. Celery, I don't want celery on my pizza. I like celery. I like eating sticks of celery with like my wings at B-Dubs, but I don't want celery on my pizza. Cardiac arrest. I don't think that's for me. I'm on blood pressure medication. Maybe shouldn't be ordering that one. Chicken Alfredo. I like chicken Alfredo. I just don't want a pizza chicken Alfredo. Chicky Parm. Again, chicken strips on that one. No, thank you. Chicken cordon bleu. So I'm looking at all these pizzas and I'm like, God, none of these sound good. The deluxe is basically like a supreme. You got Fetalicious, Hawaii Pie. Oh, that's your classic Hawaiian pizza. You got macaroni and cheese pizza, which is like a thing here. The old classic margarita, of course, an American take on it. Mediterranean. I'm a Mediterranean fan, so I ended up going with. So here you kind of get it's got kind of some weird ass pizzas. So I went with this one up here, the Portobello Lugosi, classic marinara sauce, portobello mushrooms. I love portobello mushrooms. I can eat a portobello mushroom sandwich. They have so much flavor. It's like a meat on its own. Portobello mushrooms, sausage, which sausage is my go-to for pizza. Red onions. I'm not an onion fan on my pizza, but red onions is okay. It's better than, a white onion. Basil. I like basil. Garlic, like garlic, and mozzarella, of course, topped with our cheese and herb shake. It was a delicious pizza. So this is what I went with, Portobello Lugosi at Glass Nickel. It was phenomenal. Let me tell you, though, this is a little TMI. My farts this morning are just absolutely horrendous. Like, I'm glad I'm not leaving the house today because I almost threw up this morning when I farted. I don't know if it's the red onions. I don't know if it's just everything that's on that, but the farts, not good. But the pizza, amazing. So I would definitely go back and I'd order it again. So that's what I had last night from Glass Nickel as I was preparing to watch the Tyson fight. Oh, and you know what I did before? So as I'm waiting, so the one knock I have on Glass Nickel was, I didn't order Jets because of the long 2-hour delivery wait. So when I went to Glass Nickel, it's like you can find your estimated delivery time under like the thank you, and I'm like, I don't see it. I'm gonna just wing it, or on your order notification, it's like, so you don't know how long the wait is until after you pay for your pizza. Unless you found the thank you, and maybe that's a me problem. I just didn't look hard enough. But so then I'm like looking at my email and I'm like, I do not see it. And finally it's like, it's buried and it's like 7:53. And I'm like, well, fuck, that's 2 hours also. Actually, it was like an hour and 45 minutes. So a little less time of a wait than Jets. And it was exactly. So when I'm like, okay, 7:53. So my wife comes home. I'm like, oh, I ordered a pizza. She's like, oh, what'd you get? I think she was thinking I would get like a Jets cheese pizza. And I'm like, oh, you went to happy hour? I just assumed you were eating there. She's like, no. I'm like, well, I ordered, it's got sausage and red. And she's like, I don't want that. I'm like, well, you can pick them off. She's like, yeah, I'm good. So she's like, well, when's it going to come? And I'm like, well, the estimated delivery time is 7:53. And she's like, geez. And I'm like, but they always like puff that out just to scare you. Just to scare you. And it's never it never takes that long. It was exactly 7:53. Like, I shit you not. I put the order in at like 7:53. I put the order in at like 6:05. And I'm like, okay, 7:53. I'm like, maybe I'll get it 7:15, 7:30. No, it was exactly 7:53. I don't know if they just like waited down the street and they're like, we're gonna prove our point. We are exact on our time. And they're probably just waiting. They're probably eating somebody else's pizza, sitting down the street, just waiting. So it was good. It's good. And their timing is impeccable. Exactly 7:53 when my pizza came. We're going to talk about the fight last night. Oh, before we get to the chat, before we talk about the Tyson fight, I do want to talk about something I watched as I'm waiting for my pizza and for the Tyson fight to begin. So I'm just hanging out upstairs, and it's just me and Ernie. And I'm like, oh, there's a movie. There's a new, and I thought originally it was a Hallmark movie because it stars my girl, Mark Marinello's girl too. We share, Lacey Chabert. And I think Dan is a big Lacey Chabert fan too. It's called Hot Frosty. Brian started watching it. He did a little watch along on Twitter, or a little movie review. I enjoyed that. I think Brian's here. I thought I saw a comment from Brian. Brian is here. He says it's hot trash. I disagree. So I'm like, I'm going to watch this because my wife's not going to want to watch this. So I watch it. I enjoy it. It's now, is it like a top 5 Christmas movie for me? No, but it's going to be one of those movies where I'll probably watch it every year. It's going to go in the rotation for sure. Maybe cracks the bottom of a top 10 for me in Christmas movies. Take that, Brian. So watch Hot Frosty on Netflix. It's kind of, without giving it away, it's a take on Frosty the Snowman. It's basically Frosty the Snowman, just humanized. I don't know what happens at the end. Although I think this has a happy ending. Does Frosty the Snowman have a sad ending? I can't remember. It's been a while since I've seen the cartoon. But this does have a happy ending. So I guess I did spoil the ending for you. It's not sad, it's happy. So Top Frosty, it's on Netflix. I thought it was good. So I went from Hot Frosty Christmas movie to boxing on Friday night. So we're going to talk about that. So I got my Buc-ee's cup. We got some mushroom coffee this morning. Where we at? Jody's here. What's up? Good morning. We got Mr. Archer in the house. Good morning. Scott's here. What's going on? Good morning. Gundy is here. Good morning. SoCal guy in the house. Hello and good weekend to everyone. Cooter's here. Good morning. Awaiting for the postman with my Dallas SGC submission. See how fast that is with SGC? My Bo Superfractor. The PSA has received it. I did get an email like shortly after I submitted it on a Saturday at the Dallas Card Show, and I think the following Monday, it had already been received by PSA, which I think is in gradings in California, isn't it? So they got there fast. I don't know. I guess maybe the people that are there take all the submissions with them on the plane. I don't know. But it got there and it's been received. I guess I could go check on it, but it's one of those where I don't care when I get it back. As long as I get it back, I don't really care. Goof Morgan, Uncle Rich. What's going on? Good morning. Philly Joe, I think Uncle Rich is going to be on Hobby Hotline a little bit later this morning. Philly Joe, speaking of PSA, with Chris Carlin. Philly Joe is here. Good morning. Says Cooter. Mikey says, good morning. I got a Cameron Brink Select Black Gold numbered to 5 for only $500. I think that's a steal. How about you? I wouldn't pay $500 for that, but that's not my wheelhouse. If you were talking about like a first chrome superfractor of a Cubs player, I'd be like, yeah, that's a good deal. Cameron Brink, I don't know. I don't know the market, so I can't tell you one way or another. Mikey says Netflix showed Mike Tyson's ass on live stream last night. I didn't want to see that. Why not? Why don't you want to see a 58-year-old man's ass? Why not? Brian says, just wanted to say good morning. Hot Frosty is hot trash. I'll be finishing my review later today. Cheers. I did enjoy it. Even though we disagree, I did enjoy your movie, your partial movie review, and I'll be looking forward to the finish. Red Light 34, what's happening? Good morning. Sheena's here. What's up? He's in Peru today. Not the country, but the town in Illinois. Peru Card Show at the mall. Have fun. I've never been to that show. It's one of those where I've always thought, if I'm ever going back to my hometown, because my hometown's just 30 minutes away from Peru. Just on, so Peru, Illinois sits on Interstate 80. Sheena, I don't know if you like fried chicken. I know this is kind of random. But if you like fried chicken, venture down Interstate 80, just past Peru. In fact, I think it's the next exit. It's the Spring Valley Ladd exit. Ladd, Illinois, Ladd, right off Interstate 80, just down the road from Peru, westbound. There's a it's called Rips Tavern, R-I-P, Rips Tavern, and it has the greatest fried chicken I have ever had and will ever have in my life. Amazing fried chicken, Rips Tavern. Check it out. Amazing chicken. If you don't like fried chicken, you're gonna be like, fuck that. I don't want to go. If you don't like fried chicken, don't go. But if you do like fried chicken, damn good. Ladd, Illinois, Rips Tavern. Uncle Rich says, Bert B. Home Blyleven would be proud of your emissions. Bert Blyleven loves to fart. So do I. Zach's in the house. What's going on? Good morning. Dan is here. What's happening? Johnny M., good morning. Did you watch the Serrano fight? Probably the fight of the year. So here's what I did watch. I watched the Ramos, who was the preliminary. I guess there was co-main events. So the last preliminary fight, I watched in its entirety. Now I was also sorting cards at the same time, so I wasn't like glued to the television, but I was able to watch that unencumbered. Then the Taylor Serrano fight. That was the co-main event. No, I did not watch that because my Netflix stream didn't work. In fact, the TV, I'm going to get into my problems. My rec room, I need to get it hardwired to, I've got a plug. I just have it figured out because my TV doesn't have like the plug that matches. I'm sure there's something I need, like some type of converter that I need, like an Ethernet converter. I plug it in somewhere on the TV, and then the other side is Ethernet into my internet. So I haven't figured that out yet. A year and a half in this house, haven't figured that out yet. Haven't really asked either. That's the problem. Anyway, for some reason, the router or the modem, whatever it is, I think both are just steps away in the basement. But for whatever reason, my rec room TV, like the internet drops all the fucking time. It's really annoying. I need to get it looked into and just stop bitching about it. But so when it freezes, I just assume it's my shitty TV or shitty connection or whatever it might be. So I just turn the TV off, and then you turn it back on, and boom, it restores internet connectivity. So it did that a couple times, and I just assumed it was my internet dropping. So I'm seeing, in fact, I'm like on Twitter, and people are like, "Oh, is yours?" I'm like, "No, mine's not dropping. Mine's fine. Yeah, mine's fine." Then all of a sudden it dropped, and I'm like, "Well, screw it. I'm going to go." So I came into this room, and I'm like, "Well, I'm just going to turn it on here because I don't have those connectivity issues in here. This isn't hardwired. I don't get it. It's further away from the router modem. Anyway, this TV's fine. I've never had internet drop. Knock on wood. Never had internet drop on this TV. So, boom, bring up Netflix, bring it up. It's good for like 30 seconds. And then it just freezes. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And then Netflix says, is your internet working? And it's like, yeah, my fucking internet is working. And it does a speed test. It's like very fast. It's like, I know. I effing know. It's you, Netflix. It's not me. This is a you problem. So the Taylor Serrano fight, no, I did not watch any of it because it would stream for like maybe 30 seconds at a time and then freeze. I'd click back out. I got tired of it eventually and just and then I'm like, I don't even know where I'm at. I don't even know if it's live or not anymore. So no, did not watch that fight. It looked like, I saw the scores. It looked like it was a good fight. Kind of a controversial scoring though, right? Kind of a controversial scoring. I don't know boxing, but at least what I've read on the internet, which is always true, as we know, points in the direction that maybe the wrong person won. I don't know. But no, I did not watch it. Jets Pizza following Bo's shipment schedule. Offbeat All-Stars in the house. What's up, Brian? Zach and Porter says, take the fully allotted time allowed. Hey, I remember somebody making a purchase maybe on Friday morning and having their package also packaged up and shipped out Friday morning. Who would that be? I think they were in Racine, Wisconsin. I think they ordered a couple or maybe that was Thursday morning. Had a familiar name. Mikey says, I'm hanging out with my girlfriend today. Hopefully no mistakes happen. Mistakes. Just bring the pleasure spray. No mistakes will happen with the pleasure spray. Brian says, present. Dan says, I posted that in Hobby Evolution already and it got no responses. It's on Netflix. On Hot Frosty? I watched it yesterday. It's very good. Mikey says, do you like happy endings? Oh, Mikey, do you? Mikey might be getting a happy ending this weekend. Zach says, Frosty the Snowman died on a cross. I may have that messed up, but pretty sure this is correct. Cooter says Serrano got screwed by the judges. See, and that's what I've read. That's what I've read. Maybe I can go back. I don't really want to watch. I don't really want to go back and watch it. Like, and I've read like the results of the Tyson fight, and it's like, oh, I don't care. Like everybody says it sucked and it was terrible and money grab, which we all knew. We should have known it was a money grab. Duh. So I don't really care to go back and watch it. I'm gonna watch Hobby Hotline later this morning, and then I don't know. 1 o'clock though, my alma mater, Western Illinois University, the Fighting Leathernecks, are home against Central Arkansas, which isn't Central Arkansas. Isn't that Scottie Pippen's alma mater? Central Arkansas making the trip to Macomb, Illinois today. 1 o'clock tip off at Western Hall. So I will tune in to that game if I remember. Rich says that is correct, and I'll be on with PSA's Chris Carlin. There you go. Hobby Hotline coming up in about an hour and 15 minutes. Merle says, good morning. Listing more cards on Collects. I can sell on there cheaper than that 99-cent cards guy. You can sell cards for a penny if you want. Check it out. Collects, COLLX. I've got some 99-cent cards in there. I've got some quarter cards in my Collect store. Rich says, down boy, Cameron is a good-looking young lady. She's an Amazon. Isn't she like 6'2"? Zach says, Rich, the resident pervert on Hobby Hotline live at 10 a.m. Central. Craig Robinson is the best part of Hot Frosty. Disagree. Lacey Chabert is by far the best part of Hot Frosty. He's at least trying to be fun, but only half the movie has been watched. More to come. Brian's just a Lacey Chabert hater, which I don't understand. Sheena says, also went to the Rockford Ice Hogs hockey last night. I love fried chicken. Go to Rip's Tavern. Let's do this. I'll just show you. So Rip's Tavern is it's about 30 minutes from my hometown. Peru's probably 40 minutes because Rip's is only like 10 minutes from Peru. Maybe not even 10 minutes. I don't know. Where's the Peru? Oh, actually, I know where I've been to the Peru Mall. The Peru Mall is just like a block or two off the interstate. So they gotta have pictures. Come on. So like here's the menu, and then I'll try to find photos. So if anybody's in like Central Illinois, or if you're in the Peru, Illinois area, hop on I-80 to Ladd, Illinois, Rip's Tavern. Prices have gone up. When I was going there in high school, and I haven't been. So my mom hates fried food, so we don't go. We went last time we went. I think my dad was still no. We went with her man friend a few years ago. So it's probably been 5. It was probably before COVID. So I guess it's been at least 5 years, 4 to 5 years. But like in high school, like you could get a half chicken. So now it's a half light is $15. A half light back in the late 90s was like $4.50. And I think a quarter was like $3.50 or something. It was super cheap. Now it's, still, that's a lot of chicken. A half a 2 breasts and 2 wings for $15. That seems like a damn good deal to me. So there you go. You got chicken strips. So if you've got your daughter with you, they got chicken strips. They got a kid chicken strip meal. So there you go. And it's kind of like sometimes you have to wait in line. Like back in the day, and I don't think it's as, because we have so many like entertainment options and different food options today. Like people just, it's not like a destination is like it used to be, in the pre-cell phone internet stuff. Although it makes the wait go faster, I guess, if you're just hanging out in line, like, oh, I'm just gonna get my phone out. But you'd wait like sometimes on like Saturday night, Sunday night. Sundays were big on Ladd Chicken. Like it was like an hour and a half wait, but they have a bar, so you just drink in line. And Rip's Tavern was the very first adult beverage, first beer I had in a public establishment. And I'm not going to tell you how old I was. Not going to tell you how old I was, but I was served. Rip's Tavern, best fried chicken I've ever had. Where are we at? Dan gives us a little Ladd, Illinois history. It was originally named Laddville. Now, just north of Ladd is a town called Cherry, Illinois. And there was a famous, infamous mine disaster that killed like 200 some people back in the early 1900s. We just passed an anniversary. I think it was just a few days ago for the Cherry mine disaster anniversary. And you can still see there's a giant mound that you can see from the interstate. And that giant mound is where the Cherry mine was back in, and we're talking like 1910, somewhere back there. Killed like 250 people. Cherry mine disaster, Cherry, Illinois. So there's a little more history for you. East Coast Tom is here. What's going on? Good morning. Unicorn Cupcake says Netflix failed us all. Yeah, and I've got like friends. I'm looking on Facebook this morning, and I've got friends that they're like crowded around a cell phone because a cell phone was the only device that Netflix was not buffering. And you'd see like a group of like 12 people all huddled around this small cell phone trying to watch the Tyson fight. Mikey says Tyson didn't throw punches, very many punches. Corey Garcia is in the house. Good morning. Netflix was horrible for the fight last night. The server was not able to hold the amount of people watching it. And if you like if you would have told me this yesterday morning, I'd be like, oh no, Netflix is like the best. Like if I were to trust any streaming platform to withhold, is withhandle a word? To withstain. Is that a word? Am I just making shit up? I don't know. The amount of people, the traffic that was coming into the servers, I'd be like, oh, Netflix would be my number one choice. And I guess Amazon, just because it's Amazon. Amazon and Netflix. And we know Amazon can handle it because they do live football, but Netflix is going to be doing Monday Night Raw. Now, I understand Monday Night Raw is not going to bring the traffic that a Mike Tyson fight will on a Friday night, which is also pretty crazy. And it's sad. It's crazy and sad at the same time. And why I say this, it's kind of like, it's like the end of an era because there's so much nostalgia. Now, and this is kind of like boom or bust. Boom or bust on Netflix Friday night fights. If it was not Mike Tyson, I would not care. I would not have watched it. It was not appointment television. We do not have appointment television anymore. And that to me is sad. You know, it used to be so much fun. You know, and I guess I grew up, you know, most of my youth was pre-internet. But like in my early adulthood, late teens, early adulthood, you know, we had AOL Instant Messenger and we could watch something live. It's like appointment television because we didn't have there was no streaming back in the late 90s, early 2000s. But you had the internet and you could like text your friends and be like, oh, are you watching this fight? Blah, blah, blah. And it was like everybody's watching. Everybody's watching. And even to an extent, like 10, 15 years ago, before like smartphones, and before streaming, like when Netflix was CDs by mail or DVDs by mail, and like you'd watch whether it's a big game or a big fight, and you'd be on Twitter, and it was so much fun. Now it's like nobody, like we don't have that, and it's like it's just disappeared. Appointment television, much like boxing. Boxing's just not. We talked about this yesterday. Boxing's just not. You know, it's not what it was in the 1980s, which was the 80s. Did we talk? I know we talked about this yesterday, but did we kind of determine when was the peak of the boxing fandom? And it might have been like 20s, because I know boxing was big back in the turn of the 20th century. But you know, boxing is just not what it used to be. And I think we talked because there's so many federations titles and all that stuff, but there's no like name recognition, very little name recognition. There's not like any household names. Like Johnny knows, he's got sons that are boxers. Like Johnny knows boxing, but like the rest of us, like we're like, oh yeah, Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, Lennox Lewis, you know, they're 60 years old now. Floyd Mayweather, I think he's retired. Like Manny Pacquiao, he's, the names that we know, they're not fighting anymore. Like who are the champions? I'd be like, I have no idea who that is. There's just little name recognition. And so that's why I think it's not only like Netflix, like that was a bust. Like you get an F, Netflix. You can't handle all of these people watching this fight. That if the stream would have worked for me, because now it's like you had me on the ropes, Netflix. Boxing and Netflix had me on the ropes. Like I enjoyed whatever fight it was, and I don't know the names, but it was Ramos and there were two Mexican fighters, and they like fucking put it all on the line, and it was a great fight from what I observed. I wasn't like paying close attention, but I'd watch every once in a while. I'm like, damn, they're going at it. And then they hugged at the end, like, hey, this is awesome. They were very respectful and had great sportsmanship. I enjoy seeing that. And that I could have built. And then from what I've been told, because I wasn't able to watch it, the Taylor Serrano fight was very good. And if I could have watched it, maybe that would have hooked me in. I'm like, okay, now I know who these fighters are. I know who the other fighters are. I might, like, if Netflix brings live boxing every Friday night, I may tune in. Not necessarily, I don't need that nostalgia fix for Tyson or Paul, like this giant money grab. But that's what drew people in. Serrano Taylor's not going to draw me in. It's going to draw the boxing fans in. But how do you 10x the famous hobby verbiage? You don't 10x boxing fandom by bringing boxing fans what they want. You have to reach out to guys like me that like boxing's okay, but I'm just not like, I could do without it. But if you draw me like Mike Tyson, now I'm in. And then they lay an egg because I can't even watch it. And it wasn't even like I was still awake after 10 o'clock. Like, I'm like, fuck it now. Like, I'm tired and my stream doesn't work. So now it wasn't even like an old man, I'm going to bed thing. It was just, I can't fucking watch it because the stream sucks. So in my opinion, what could have been a boom for both Netflix and boxing became a bust because Netflix couldn't handle it, which sucks, which really, really sucks because it could have drew me in. Like, am I going to become a huge boxing fan and watch boxing every week? No, but if they do like these big events, like, oh, hey, this is kind of appointment television for me. Like I had an enjoyable experience, but I didn't because Netflix stream didn't work. But I could have, if I would have been able to watch the Serrano Taylor, like a little tease up there, fight of the year. And I missed it because the stream didn't work. And when it did work, it's like, it looked like I was watching Cinemax in 1986 that I'm not, I'm trying to de-scramble. Johnny M says Netflix was having problems with the stream. Cooter says, sorry, Uncle Rich, but due to recent social media comments by its founder, I will not consume bench clear media content. I don't want you to have to pander. Cooter. Zach says, Bo had better Wi-Fi in his old basement compared to what I hear Netflix ran into. That is correct. That is absolutely correct. Merle says, I don't think Netflix was ready for a live event like that. I ended up watching it on my phone. Yeah, I had a lot of friends. I'm looking at photos on Facebook. People like crowded around this tiny cell phone watching the fight. At that point, I didn't even it's like, if I have to watch on my phone, I don't want to watch. Stooks here. What's up? Good morning. Johnny Boy, good morning. Zach says, I'm reviewing goods from Bo's store today. That is true. 99centcards.com. Receiving. Dan says, yes. What kind of mistakes are you afraid of, Mikey? Merle asks. Dan says, hot frosty. That's what he was talking about in Hobby Evolution. Johnny M says, Tyson fight was a glorified sparring session. And I think you warned us about that. Pretty sure you warned us about that. Mikey says, did you have to pay for the Tyson fight? No, it was as long as you subscribed to Netflix, it was free. So we've been subscribers to Netflix since, man, I'm trying to think. like my wife and I have always had a Netflix subscription, like since we started dating. So that's been over 10 years now. And I'm pretty sure I had a Netflix subscription before that. So yeah, if you have a Netflix, kind of like Peacock, if you have a Peacock subscription, you can watch all the WWE premium live events. They're not even pay-per-views anymore because, well, which makes sense because you don't pay per view anymore. You just get it with the subscription, which I love. John unsubscribed to all Ty Wilson endeavors, including bench clear shows. I did unsubscribe to some as well. I don't like politics mixed in with my content, and I don't want to see that on social media, and I don't want to see some of that stuff. So yeah, it's like not gonna pander to that type of content. Cameron Brink is 6'3". Brian says, I don't hate her. Her movies suck. She doesn't. Oh, I think her movies are great, and she makes them great. She peaked at Mean Girls. Stuke says, miss those Leatherneck games better than Murray State that replaced them. NDSU gets Missouri State today. And we could have been in the same building, Stuke. I was in Fargo a few times, 2011, 12, 13, and 14. Or I guess it would have been 12, 13, and 14. Fargo's a great city. Fargo's one of those cities where people, because when I worked at Western Illinois, we played in like random cities that you normally don't travel to, like Fargo, North Dakota, Grand Forks, North Dakota, Brookings, South Dakota, Sioux Falls, South Dakota, Moscow, Idaho, Stockton, California, Hammond, Louisiana, Montgomery, Alabama, Logan, Utah. And Fargo was one of those cities where like, this is actually like, now it kind of sucks in February when it's like 20 below zero, but it's 20 below zero in Wisconsin sometimes. So you get used to it, I guess. Cooter says, I watched the Tyson fight on YouTube live stream of some dudes that had a mirror strategically placed behind them. Yeah. I ended up watching Antonio Brown was live stream from like the venue. The funny thing about Antonio Brown, who's fucking like, he's got some loose screws up going on. But he's like bragging how he was at Mar-a-Lago and he was like hobnobbing with Trump and Elon Musk. And then he flew on a jet to Texas to watch this fight. But he's sitting in like the fucking nosebleed seats. Like you could bear on his stream. He's like bragging about, oh yeah, dude. And you can't even fucking see the ring where he's sitting. He's talking like he's sitting front row. And it's like, he's way the fuck back there. So Antonio Brown, you're a moron. But I was watching the stream for a little bit just to kind of get a, bird's eye view of the nosebleeds. John says a night out with mom's fuck buddy would be great content. Jesus Christ. Rips should be paying for this type of free publicity. Dan says Lacey's best looking appearance in a movie is when she was standing in the doorway in Not Another Teen Movie. Oh, yeah. Was that kind of a play? What was that a play on? It's been a while since I've seen that. John says, my last fun dine-out night was a pizza buffet in Vinton, Iowa earlier this year. That's where you meet the real America. Was that Pizza Ranch? Pizza Ranch. Big deal in Iowa. Mikey says, what did Ty say? He just said a bunch of bullshit that we don't agree with. Dan says, Cherry was the site of the Cherry mine disaster, which killed 259 coal miners in November 1909. This was the third most deadly mine disaster in U.S. history as of 2024. So there you go. There's a little more history on the Cherry mine disaster. Zach says, Collex and Cardi the Pro can only wish to have Bo speak about them in the same emotion he does for Casey's Pizza, Rips Tavern, or the primetime high school football game in Illinois. Casey's Pizza, baby. Let's see. That was Casey's Taco Pizza and Rips Tavern for fried chicken. That's Friday night football, Friday night Anawan Braves football. Get a Casey's Taco Pizza after the game. Saturday or Sunday, you go out to Lad for some fried chicken. That's a weekend, man. That's a weekend in Anawan. That is money well spent. Zach says Cherry was a magazine in the back row at a bodega. That's also true. Rich can probably confirm, right? Cherry Mind Disaster on Wiki. There you go. There you can read more about it. Cherry is a magazine Rich still receives in a brown envelope delivered to work. Stuke's going to the McKinney flea market today. Merle says, not sure I want to go to a flea market. I haven't been to a flea market in a long time. Every time I drive by, like on a Sunday, Allstate Arena in Rosemont, they have huge flea markets on Sundays, like during the warm weather months. And it's like, I should stop in there. But I want to go. I don't want to go to one of those. I want to go to like a backwoods flea market. That's where I want to go. Like in Anawan. That's where I want to go. Merle says, not sure I have seen someone make up so many words so quickly, withholding Kramer's attorney. John says, why were they looking for cherries underground? They frickin' grow above ground on trees. I don't know what they were actually mining. I'm sure it was coal back in those days in that region where I grew up. I'm sure it was coal mines. Zach says, I explained the arc of Mike Tyson's life to Porter, the epitome of a youth having the world in front of them and poor choices combined with poor friends drag you down to the gutter. And then it's like, but then you rebuild yourself. You become an icon. And at 58 years old, you collect $10-20 million for fighting again. It's like a behind the music. Mike Tyson behind the music. And you just got to spend a little time in prison in between. John says, I'd say early 80s was the peak when the middleweight division was on fire. Zach says, then you rebuild it all. Ramos and Barrios. There you go. That was a great fight. That's the only fight that I got to watch. Ali Frazier time frame was great. Boxing popularity started to die when it left free TV. There was, because I was looking last night, I was curious because I remember, and I thought it was Friday night fights. I thought there was a Friday night fights on like Showtime or HBO, and maybe there was. Was there? Or is this like what's that thing called where you misremember? The Mandela effect. Is this a Mandela effect? I feel like HBO or Showtime had like Friday night fights. I looked it up and I could not find any like background, but there was Tuesday night fights on USA Network back in like the 80s and 90s with that awesome like Budweiser bow tie in the middle of the ring. But was there a Friday night fights at some point in time on like HBO? I thought so, but maybe I'm wrong. We reached our society perk or peak when, Kimbo Slice fought random cops on YouTube, downhill from there. Peak. There you go. Bench clear is 10xing the hobby. I've witnessed it. Johnny says Ramos' fight was excellent too. Most boxers have fantastic sportsmanship. Was surprising when I first started noticing that. Yeah, I was like, man, these guys, like, you're just fucking going at it. And then all of a sudden they're like bro love. They're like best friends, which kind of happens in real fights sometimes. Like you're in a bar fight and it's like, which I've never been in. Actually, I've been involved in a bar fight before. I got hit. I was just trying to break it up. But a lot of times it's like, and actually probably maybe not a bar, but like probably like in a party, like you've got these dudes from a different school, like this is like college, and they fight, and then all of a sudden they're like best friends by the end of the night. John says, on election night, I went to sleep last night, slept carefree, and woke up without any concern of the event of the night before. I did want to know who, and I guess that's kind of how I rolled. Like, I had somebody I was rooting for. I didn't want to watch it play out. And I couldn't because Netflix prevented that. And it's like, I'll just go to bed. I'll wake up in the morning and look up who won. And that's what I did. And it's like, oh, bummer. Mike Tyson didn't win. And I'm going to go about my day. Cooter says, when I was about 8, my mom's car broke down. We called my dad from a nearby house and waited. So I got to hang out with Sean O'Grady. He later became the WBA lightweight champion. Very cool. Rich says to Cooter, since I don't live on social media, please DM me with what you are discussing. Oh, I think that's the Tygate. I got the results this morning. Nothing is more important than my sleep. Amen. Amen. Johnny says, remember, Mikey, a mistake will cost you way more than the $500 you paid for that card. Zach says, Rich, how about you try to figure it out instead of giving Cooter a homework assignment? Rich says, am I the only one who missed all that with Ty? I don't think so. I think Mikey was questioning it also. Brian says, I think so. Oh, yeah, Brian's aware. Stuke missed it. John says Zach is funny. Mikey says, true, last time it broke, and we both freaked out about it. Uh-oh. Antonio Brown is a great heel. He is. He plays it well. And you got to respect that. Like, yeah, he's kind of a dipshit. Maybe not kind of. Maybe he is. But you got to respect his ability to, like, own it and just continue living the heel life. I got respect for that. Andy wants to know what Ty Wilson did. Corey Garcia says, I watch all the fights, have 4 TVs in the room. Ladies can watch their stuff, and me and my son watch the fights, and my son plays the Xbox. There you go. There you go. That's what I thought. Okay. A parody of Can't Hardly Wait. Yeah, Jennifer Love Hewitt in Can't Hardly Wait, which awesome movie. One of my favorites. That would be, and I think Andy called it when I said, and I never did complete my assignment for the Bo movie marathon or whatever we were calling it. Can't Hardly Wait was going to be like the main event. That was going to be like the party movie that we end the movie marathon with. Mikey says boxing was the highest with Frazier, Ali, Holyfield. That was kind of different eras. Holyfield came a little later. Frazier and Ali, big time before my time. Is the other cat crowing today about how he beat up a 58-year-old man? Probably. He's a shit talker. Plays a good heel. Scott's heading out to a card show in Auburn, California. First show I've been able to get to since early August. Have fun. I am getting a little FOMO. Sheena's in Peru. Scott's in Auburn. Stuke's going to a flea market. And I'm going to sit in my basement. So I am feeling a little FOMO. But I get to go to Chicago next week. Sports Spectacular. We got Madison in 2 weeks. So I can lay low this weekend. Johnny M says, buyer never paid for my Ellie Larkin dual rip card to $50. Prices have dropped to under $200. I'm debating on ripping it. Already made profit on A&G. I am going to say what I always say. You gotta rip it. Now, if it's my card, I think differently. But if somebody asks, should I rip? Yes, you should always rip. That's the answer. Uncle Rich says HBO Friday Night Fights was boxing after dark. Okay, so there was HBO Friday Night Fights. Their bigger fights were on Saturday. Okay. Mikey says boxing and UFC is the greatest when you have 2 great fighters with a hot rivalry and everything is on the line. Titles, legacy, fortune. I agree with that. Uncle Rich says Showtime also had Saturday night fights. ESPN had Sunday in the time between football and baseball. And then Friday night fights. Mikey says, was your wife the one that hit you in the bar fight? No. No. Uncle Rich says, and USA had Tuesday night fights. I did. Yeah, I saw that. So I'm like, USA Tuesday night fights. I don't remember that, but I guess that was. Johnny says, got my head put through a plate glass window in a bar fight once. We ended up going for beers in another bar when we got thrown out. See, that seems like that's how bar fights go. Like, do your damage and you hug and have a beer and become best friends. Cooter's the Forrest Gump of obscure athletes. Jody says there were Friday night fights on, I think, CBS in the 70s before cable and pay-per-view. It was great. Ali was the main event all the time. Interesting. Andy says Ty is the chasing cardboard guy. That guy is cooked with how much he's invested in that goofy YouTube channel. Their best video has 150,000 views. Hopefully he's invested in Dogecoin or some Bitcoin. Hey, I think Bitcoin hit 90K last night. Mikey says the best episode is number 37 of Chasing Cardboard. Is that the one where they go to the circus? I know why Mikey likes that one. My mouse, I don't know why my mouse isn't working well. Maybe the battery, I don't know. Brian says, might try and get some card art made today. Still has been selling well in my eBay store. Does anyone want to see anything? Absolutely. Dan wants to see Lacey nude. There you go. Can you do that? Can you whip up that? I think there'd be a lot of interest in that. Keating House, Erie night fights. Can we play Name That Player? We did yesterday. You missed it. Zach says flea market. What an old man in sweatpants calls his nether regions. That's gross. That is gross. All right. So that's what I had. I think we pretty much talked about the Friday night fights last night. Boomer bust. For me, it was a bust, which had the which after the first fight that I watched, I'm like, this is like I could watch boxing. Like I don't know who these two boxers are, but they're putting on a great fight. I could watch this again. I would watch this again. But now it's like, I didn't get to watch the co-main event, and obviously I didn't get to watch either co-main events. It's like, it had the opportunity to bring me in, and it failed. Jeremy says best Chasing Cardboard episode is when they buy the whole house of cards in Texas. That's like one of the things that's like, man, and they won that at like an auction, like through an auction, and paid like a lot less than they expected. And that's like, I think what it's like people like me that are a little cuckoo. That's like a dream, like buying a whole house. It's a nightmare for our significant others. That'd be a dream, like buy millions of cards. Mikey thought today was Friday. My bad. No worries. Today is Saturday. Menko Meetup, episode 14, live tonight, 8 p.m., 7 Central, over on, I assume, Korean Cardboard's channel. Brian says, Hot Frosty live reaction review coming later today. Cheers. That's going to be on Twitter. What's Brian's at on Twitter? Let's see. Brian Kroger 13 at Brian Kroger 13. Jeremy says, yeah, like 8,000. I agree. Yeah. It's like, fuck, I would have totally done that. All righty. That's why you always got to be looking. Always be looking so you can find stuff like that. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. Hit up my eBay store, 99centcards.com. Did add some new inventory yesterday. New auctions went live last night. I've got auctions ending tonight, about 75 auctions ending tonight. And I also have new auctions beginning tonight. Zach says, I miss when Chasing Cardboard had a feud with Sports Card Radio and couldn't handle a little healthy discussion. Yeah, that was kind of embarrassing. That was weak sauce. All right. Like, subscribe, hit up my eBay store. I'm also over on Collects, COLLX. I've got over 3,000 cards listed on the Collects app. Most cards are less than 99 cents or less over there. Just find me 1 Million Cubs on Collects. You can find Uncle Rich and Chris Carlin, and I don't know who else, but a third person, I assume, over on Hobby Hotline coming up in about 45 minutes. And have a great day. If you're going to a card show, have a great time. Buy some cool stuff. I'm jealous. But I'll see you tomorrow. We'll do this again tomorrow morning around the same time, 8:30 Central Time or so. So enjoy your weekend, and we'll be back tomorrow morning.